And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're in Cheviot. They're right on Harrison Avenue, inside the Door District. So you can go from bar to bar with your drinks, or indeed, there's no need to do that. Just hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got 27 TVs, 9-screen video wall, the Direct TV sports package, so they stream all the games. And Cincinnati Sports will always be on the video wall. Brand new draft lines, brand new walk-in coolers, food trucks on the weekend, and, of course, ice-cold Cincy Light in 32.8 degree frosted glasses. All right, let's get this show on the road. Camp has progressed. Day 2 is in the books. A little bit of a schedule change for day 3. It was going to change a lot of stuff at Bearcat Journal. Fortunately, now it does not. Aaron, you're hearing this for the first time. Practice has moved to the morning for tomorrow, so we will be able to do our regularly scheduled BCJ podcast Wednesday night, and then we're off on Thursday. So,
hooray!
Yeah, get to keep everything on schedule. So, and I don't have to be out at Camp Higher Ground at 6 o'clock on a day that feels like 103 degrees. So
I can say the high tomorrow here is like 91. So I didn't check what it was for Cincinnati, but I can only imagine out in that wilderness.
93 feels like 103 was what it was supposed to be. And they said, we should probably go in the morning. Yeah. And I said, I agree. I think that's a good idea. So, I was planning on, I was going to have a Cincy Light or two tonight, but now I've got to be up early in the morning. So I will take that trade-off. No Cincy Light tonight, but maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll have one or two tomorrow during the BCJ pod, since we're off on Thursday. But I'm not really off on Thursday because I always do this to myself, Aaron. What do I do anytime I have an off day? I'm in for Mo.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I'm not smart. I'm not a smart man. But what can you do? We've got 2 position groups left to hit on. Defensive line, and then I'm guessing we'll do defensive line today. I guess we'll do offensive line on Thursday, and that will wrap up getting you ready with all the position group previews. There is a camp report up today. We have videos with Brendan Sorsby, Dante Corleone, Joe Cotton up today. I love Joe Cotton. His interview was outstanding. We got him to tell the other side of the story about that breakfast that Coach Cardwell told us about, where Cotton had already decided he was committing to Cincinnati the night before. When they go to breakfast at the end of these official visits, it's like, are you going to commit? Are you going to take other visits? Cotton said he's looking at his family. Like, when do I do this? When's the time? Finally, Cardwell asked, and he's like, yeah. I'm in. And then the best part of that whole interview was Cardwell was like, I was ready to throw a chair through the window at the breakfast spot. And I asked Joe, I said, was he really ready to throw a chair? He's like, yeah, he picked up a chair. He's like, he picked up the chair. So if you think, that some of the stuff that they say is hyperbole, no, Nick Cardwell really picked up a chair at breakfast and was ready to throw it through a window when Joe Cotton committed to Cincinnati. He is massive. That is a giant 6'7", 320-pound human.
Well, for all of you who really enjoy the timestamps, all of those interviews and yesterday's interviews and all of the other shows we've been doing for the last couple of weeks have been broken down into pretty nice timestamps for you on YouTube. So be sure to check that out.
All right. Well, let's get into defensive line. Only one place to start on the defensive line, and that is Dante Corleone. The Godfather is back for one more go at it. Good interview with him today. And I'm really interested to see how much different he looks than last. He was good last year, but he wasn't the Dante Corleone we've come to know as often as we've seen Dante Corleone be dominant. So I'm really interested to see what that looks like with him, how good he can be, and how dominant he can be at the point of attack.
He's a guy. I mean, we've talked about this with pretty much any of the guys at the top of the roster. He's another guy that could have gone to the NFL, a guy that could have gone to any other school.
Crap ton of money anywhere else.
He could have gone to any other school across the country. Anywhere he wanted to go, he could have said, "I'm coming," and they would have said, "Yes, please." You name the school, and he would have been an anchor on anyone's defensive line. That said, he finds himself back here for one more go of it. He clearly loves this city, clearly loves this team. It means a lot to him to represent Cincinnati, always has. And I don't think that we'll ever truly appreciate how much him staying throughout his career in Cincinnati really meant for this program, because I think without him, truthfully, I don't know where Coach Satterfield would be with this team.
Yeah. Next to him, I'm expecting, I think everybody's expecting Jaylen Hunt to be that kind of strong side run stuffing defensive end. Hunt is listed at 6'2", 315. That should be adequate size for a space eater. He did not play last year. There was a lot of excitement about him last year because they felt his game had taken a jump. Then he gets injured, missed the entire season. But he looks good. He was back out there the last 2 days, right next to Dante Corleone. So it will be interesting to see what Jaylen Hunt really looks like now that he gets to be out there full time.
Well, you talked about the question mark of, are we going to get to see an extra gear for Dante Corleone? Well, we're going to get to see Jaylen Hunt, because last season we did not get to. And I think, like you said, there were quite a few eggs in that basket. We didn't get to see really the entire defensive line at 100%. Not any of the three guys from last season. And that each one of those guys gets another opportunity this season to take a crack at it. So you'd imagine that each one of those guys is probably playing with a little extra chip on their shoulder, wanting to show the fans, wanting to show the staff who's believed in them, that they're here and they mean business this season. So yeah, Jaylen Hunt, this defensive line is a little reminiscent of 2022, where you had Mean Mug on one side, and you had Eric Phillips on the other side. Just a big, beefy line. I don't know. I guess he had Majay on the other side too.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of
21.
Majay and Brooks were both gone in 21. Yeah, and that was. I'm not comparing this defensive line to that defensive line.
Just build. I'm not saying production. Okay. I don't expect nearly the same amount of production if you do get that level of production hat tip. I just mean the way that they're building the guys, the type of body type.
Yeah, I mean that's how you want a 3-man front to look. You need two. If you're not going to have 4 defensive linemen, you need 2 big physical
space eaters
that are going to eat up, a couple offensive linemen each, so that teams don't just run all over you. So, yeah, they're going to be big. They're going to have a bunch of size at those 2 spots, and then the question is going to be that rush end spot. Who is it? Does Micah Coleman emerge? Marquaze Parker is kind of the trendy name to be the guy that leads them in sacks. This year you've got CJ McCray from Virginia Tech. You've got Jaylen White-McClain from Old Dominion. That there's a lot of question there as to who is going to jump up and grab it, because that is one thing that is critical for this defense. Even if it's not sacks, Aaron, they've got to make the quarterback move. There's just been too many quarterbacks the past 2 years that have been able to stand upright in the pocket, wait for somebody to come open, and deliver a clean ball. And they have got to get pressure from one of the, be it a collection of these guys, be it one or two of these guys emerge, be it one of these guys emerges. They have got to find somebody to get to the quarterback, or else they're not going to have the type of season that we think they might have, because it doesn't matter how good your defensive backs are if the quarterback can just wait for somebody to run open. Somebody will always eventually be able to run open.
Well, when you bring up a guy like Jaylen White-McClain, his nickname is apparently Rhino. I'm going with the Luke Fickle mantra: show me that you're a Rhino before I'm going to call you Rhino. And once you have shown me that you are a Rhino, I will probably call you nothing but. However, we need to see that kind of a push, though. And you bring up, just the mishaps of the secondary the last couple of years, and you wonder if you had a defensive line that was getting any type of push, much less sacks at a regular clip, what that secondary may have looked like over the course of the last 2 seasons. Is it really simply just a skill level thing, a coaching thing, or and both of which you feel like you've upgraded since the last 2 seasons? But how much of that was dependent on the defensive line? And if any of these guys can emerge at that third spot, if Jaylon Hunt can be the guy that we think he can be, and if Dante Corleone just shows us that he is the Dante Corleone who's been ballyhooed his entire career, I think you're cooking with gas at that point.
Cam Rutherford injury, probably not going to see him this year. I'll be surprised if we do. A couple other names to note. Kamari Burns will likely be Dante Corleone's backup. Get some rotational minutes in there to give Corleone a breather from time to time. Rob Jackson probably slots in behind Jaylon Hunt as that kind of, big physical, run stuffing type guy.
Big beefy men slapping meat.
Don't ever do that again. I don't ever do that again. Anyhow, that's there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of guys that we feel can play at this level, but can any of them be, besides Corleone, can any of them be really, really good at this level? Like being a Big 12 quality rotation piece, sure, that's nice to have a bunch of them because you need a bunch of depth on your defensive line, but they've got to have somebody that stands out. And you would hope with Corleone back to 100%, he's taking up a couple guys that should free up somebody to get to the damn quarterback.
Yeah. And that's where you hope that, guys like Jaylen White-McClain or CJ McCray or Michael Coleman or whoever else is in there can really make their money.
Marquaze Parker. I don't know why you keep not mentioning him. You're enamored with the fancy new transfer toys.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes it's the homegrown guy, Aaron. Dante Corleone wasn't a transfer. He's homegrown.
And that's all without mentioning Tim Griffin, who might be built the most like a defensive end that you want.
Fortunately, I think they would love to have given Marquaze Parker last year to develop. But because of the injuries, Parker had to play. I'm sure they're hoping they get that luxury with Griffin where they can, mold him over the course of a season where it doesn't really require, to burn a red shirt or to put him out there before he's ready. But physically, he's a monster. Like he is a good looking dude. So it's a room with a bunch of bodies. It's a room with a potential, first team all conference, potential All-American type guy. But the guys around him are going to determine how we speak about that room through most of this season, I think. Yeah. It's the biggest question on defense for me.
Probably. Yeah. I don't know how it wouldn't be. But Walt's got to be happy, at least right now, how many guys he has currently available.
Sure.
Going
Sure.
into camp.
You'd like to have as many as possible, especially at that
All of
position
them.
group, because you're going to play most of them. Like, D-line rotations happen a lot because they don't want those guys out there for 6, 7, 8 continuous snaps and getting worn down. You want to get them in, get them out, keep everybody fresh. They're going to be able to do that. Who is going to step out? Who is going to say, like Dave and I talked about last week on the preview show, who's going to be able to be that guy that gets 5, 6 sacks? Because if there's not one, boy, then I don't feel as good about this defense as I want to. Yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up. That's the nightcap. Brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!